Welcome back, everybody. Robert with Occupancy Boost. In today's video, I'm going to show you an area of Booking.com that compares and ranks your revenues against your competitors. I'm also going to show you the method I use of choosing the best competitive set to compare against. Stay tuned. I'm going to switch screens and show you how to get this done. Okay, we're on the Booking.com Extranet. The tab that you want to go to is right underneath this Analytics tab on the drop down here, and you're going to go to Sales Statistics right here. Once you get there, let me kind of show you around here a little bit at the top. You can pick the dates that you want to check your stats. So I just usually let this thing run to default, which is for the last 12 months. But you could pick, particular dates that you want to do this, particular weeks, particular, months, what have you, 90-day time frames, that type of thing. But right now it's just set for default for 12 months. And down here in this comparison box here, we're going to compare with, let me just show you what it looks like. It has nothing marked there. So if I scroll down here, it's going to show you a graph with all your sales stats on there. And it down here a little bit further with your sales performance, your stats, excuse me, it's going to show you basically your statistics for Booking.com. It's going to show you how many room nights you did here at the top. It's going to show you your revenue and then your average rate. So you can kind of take a glance there at your property's statistics and how you're doing. And down here, it kind of breaks your sales down by room rate. And I do look at this every month for all the properties I work with. I go in here and look and see how well the hotel's performing. And I compare it to the month before. Now, obviously, not every month is going to be the same, but you can kind of see, in a glance how your property is performing month to month. And this breakdown by room and rate, I kind of like this because I can go in here and if there's a particular room type that's really, really popular that is booking a lot over other room types, or maybe you have a room type that's not booking that much, you can run promotions in Booking.com to specifically target that room type, or you can take a room type out if it's consistently selling out in your promotions. You may want to remove that room type from your promotions. And if you want to learn more about how to run promotions on Booking.com, I have a link down in the description. It's this video right here that just popped up on the screen. Watch this video. It shows you how to run promotions at Booking.com, and I do run through what room types to mark down when you're doing that. So that'll give you some more insight. So going back up to the top here, let's dive into this a little bit more. Let's go back up to this comparison tab, and let's compare by competitive set. Okay. So your competitive set is what's set up in Booking.com, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But let's scroll down here and look how those hotels perform. And now I purposely picked this property. I usually pick properties that I'm working with that are doing really, really well to show in my videos. This property is doing okay. Some months are up, some months are down. The reason for that is this property takes a lot of walk-in business, at certain on weekends and certain times of the week. They get some crew business in their hotel, some contract business. So I take their promotions down when that happens, and that's why you see some of the months are doing really well, some aren't. So let's just run through this real quick. The performance here, the room nights, like I said, is the first row right here. And let's just take May, for example, May 2024. This property did 180 room nights. The competitors on average did 105. So they were up 71% to their competitors. That ranked them 2 out of 11 hotels. So you have to choose 10 hotels in your competitive set. You're going to be the 11th hotel. And I'm going to show you that in a second. But they were number 2 out of 11. So this room night here, 180, somebody else in their competitive set did more than 100 room nights. And then it gives you the revenue down here, $9,863. And their competitive set had an average room revenue of 6,390. So they were 54% up to the competitive set, and they were 3 out of 11 in their comp set. They were number 3 for revenue. So 2 other hotels beat their $9,800 month. And then scrolling down a little bit further, it shows you your average rate. So the average rate was $54.80. Their competitive sets average was $60.87. So they were 10% down to their competitive set. Now, if you kind of look through the other months here, like let's just take April, for example, they had crew business in their property in April, so I did not run very many promotions. So in April, they did 53 room nights. Competitors average 116, so they were down 50% to their competitors. But I can tell you this property did very well overall for their overall revenues. Just Booking.com, they didn't perform well because we shut down a lot of their promotions. So it totally makes sense why this happened. They rank 7 out of 11 to their comp set, and I'm not going to run through the rest of these, but you guys kind of get the picture. So this really, it tells a story. This is really, really good to look at. You should look at this once a month. And like I said, I do look at this once a month for all my properties. Now, what you're going to want to do here at the top, you're also going to want to compare yourself to last year, okay? To last year. So let's go to last year and just check this out real quick. Scroll back down. So you can see this property is in the green every single month. For their differences. So they're doing better than last year all the way across the board. Their room nights are higher each month. Their revenue is higher each month, and their rate is it's most months are a little bit higher. So this property is performing better than last year all across the board, which is actually a good thing. I started working with this property about 2 years ago. So it's good to see that this property, actually, the things that we're doing and that we have in place are working when we want them to work, okay? And if you go back to up here to the comparison tab and you compare your sales stats, you can compare them with your peer group, which your peer group is going to be your top 50 hotels in your market that Booking.com chooses to compare you against, okay? So it's your top 50 hotels in your market and that are similar to you. So Booking.com kind of chooses that peer group, and then your market is basically just, the area that you reside in. So you can kind of look at all this stuff. It's going to give you some really, really good insight. I don't know why somebody listed on Booking.com would not go back to this sales stats page and check this every single month. A lot of properties that are probably watching this video get star reports, and I've done a video on how to read a star report before. This information back here is just as valuable as a star report if you want to see how you're doing on an OTA channel like Booking.com. Now, Expedia's kind of got something similar to this, but I like the way Booking.com has this set up. So, you get a star report, you want to read that obviously, but you want to go back in here and see how you're doing on your OTAs too. Sometimes you don't want to beat, like I showed you before when I compared this property to their competitive set. It's not necessarily a game like here to beat your competitors every single month. It depends on what's going on in your property. And like I said, this property takes a lot of crew business at certain months, certain times of the year. So we close down a lot of promotions and raise the rate. And we don't really want a lot of OTA bookings over that time. So that's why you're seeing this deficit. So this, like I said, this tells a story. And when you read this thing, that story is going to kind of come to life, and it should match how your hotels actually, how your hotels actually done revenue-wise overall, not just Booking.com, but overall. So if I were in here and we took, for example, in May, not May, but April, where we were down, I showed you guys we did 53 room nights in Booking.com in April, and our competitors did 116. If we had not taken a lot of crew business over this time, and our numbers look like this, I would be really disappointed because we were way behind the comp set. But because we took that crew business, this makes perfect sense. So, I think you guys kind of get the picture there. And then again, glance down here at your breakdown by room rate. You don't want to attach every single room type to all your promotions if it doesn't make sense. So use this area back here to see how your particular room types perform. And if you have a particular room type that's constantly selling out in your hotel that you run short on, you may not want to include it in your promotions. Okay, you have to sell it on Booking.com, but if you're doing a mobile promotion, or you're doing like a length of stay promotion, you may not want to include that room type in there so you can get maximum rate for that if it does sell on Booking.com. Now, I showed you guys, basically I spent a lot of time on this comparison with competitive set, okay? What we want to do, I want to go back and show you guys how to set that up. This is equally as important for your sales test because this is what you're comparing yourself against. And I guarantee you, anybody that goes back here and looks at this, they're going to compare themselves against their competitive set. You want to do that. These other ones in this drop-down are important, but the competitive set is really the one you want to pay attention to. And you guys know they get star reports. That's what your star report revolves around is your competitive set. So if you go back to this Analytics tab and you go to Manage Your Competitive Set, it's going to take you this page right here, Competitive Set page, okay? Now, this isn't automatically selected for you. You have to go in and you have to select your competitors on your own. And it's got a list here over to the left, as you can see. It gives you all the hotels that are on Booking.com in your area. And if you scroll over each one, it gives you the address of that property so you can determine, the location of it if it's something, because some of the hotels have similar names. They want to give you an idea of where the property is located, so you have something to, if you're looking for stuff in your neighborhood, it's easy to find just by scrolling over that. They don't pick your competitive set. You have to do that on your own. You have to pick at least 10 properties before this thing activates. Okay, so if you were to get into Booking.com and you were to compare yourself against your competitive set, like I showed you right here, you would have nothing down there because you have to choose your competitive set first. So going back to this competitive set page, you can go in and you can actually type you can type your competitor's name up here in this box right here, and they'll start to show up, and then you can just click on them and drag them over here to this right-hand column. Once you get 10 properties chosen for your competitive set, you can't change it for 30 days. So you're stuck with that competitive set for 30 days. And I do change these for my properties from time to time. What I typically do when I start off with a brand new hotel, if they do subscribe to Star and they get a Star report, I use their Star competitive set for my competitive set in Booking.com for at least 30 days. And then as I get familiar with the property, I might take a couple out and add a couple others in that I know are competitors of mine. Now, here's how you want to go about finding out who your competitors are. So let's just do a shop on Booking.com. Let me go over this page here. Okay, so I'm in Booking.com right now, and you may not be able to see it here, but I just searched for Orlando, Florida. I just did a one-night stay search just to kind of show you guys, for example purposes, how I would go about choosing a competitive set if, after I'm done with my, loading my Star report in there, if I have extra hotels that I need to add, if my Star, you need 10 properties, like I mentioned, to put in that competitive set column. So if your Star report only has 5 hotels on there, you're going to have to pick 5 additional ones. Okay. So my recommendation is just do a search for your city. And so if your property was in Orlando, Florida, you would just do a search for Orlando, Florida on Booking.com. And I would start off and I would search the property by prices. Okay. So you can just pick either, you could pick property price for lowest first right here. And it's going to list all the properties out by rate. It's going to start with the lowest rate and go to the highest rate. And you can kind of find out where your property's at by what rate you have loaded for that day. And it kind of gives you an average of, obviously of who else is kind of priced similar to you. So let me scroll down here a little bit and show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Okay. So this travel lodge here by Wyndham in Orlando, they're priced at $50. So I would kind of start out, if this was a hotel I was working with in booking.com, this $50, I would kind of look at that and I would scroll up and down here and see who else is priced around $50 like I am. Okay. So you've got this, well, it looks like an Airbnb. We don't want to use that one. This Motel 6, excuse me, is right around $50. So that might be one you want to look at. And they don't have to be in your exact neighborhood. You want to try to choose hotels that are in your area, but if you need to venture outside of your area, excuse me, or the hotels in your area aren't ones that you really competitors of yours, it's okay to use hotels across town if they're similar hotels, or similar size, similar customers, that type of thing. So. The Suburban Studios International Drive is at 55. You guys kind of get the picture. So you can kind of go up and down here and kind of see who's around the same price range as you within $10 to $15. Okay. And I would do that for a couple different dates. Now, the other thing you want to do here too, and now also let me mention, once you start working with your property, if you're pricing yourselves and getting into, your system every day and checking your pricing, you're going to find out who your competitors are. Some of them are going to be obvious when you start working with the hotel, but you're going to discover along the way some other ones that you didn't really expect that are going to be competitors of yours. So those are going to come naturally to you. But I'm talking about if you're first starting out with your property, these are things that you want to kind of when you load your competitive set, this is what you kind of want to look at in order to get a good comparison in there. So I'm sorry, I kind of broke off there for a second. On the left-hand side here, you can kind of do a filtered search and kind of filter out who you want to, or what amenities or what things stand out for your property that you want to compare yourself against to others when you're looking at your pricing or you're looking at your sales stats. They've got a breakfast included tab here. So you could just, Orlando's got 662 properties you can see right here. Only 230 include breakfast in the rate. So if you had a property in Orlando that included breakfast, I would definitely click this, and I would only want to see the 230 that include breakfast. That's a big thing. You don't really, hotels that price them, hotels that have breakfast included in the rate need to be priced differently than hotels that don't have breakfast included in their rate. So you want to make sure you're properly priced, and you want to compare yourself against like hotels or like motels. So I would definitely check that if you're working with a property that has breakfast included. The other thing you want to do, let me scroll down here a little bit more. Let me scroll down more. It's got a lot of different filters here for the customers. These are for customers, obviously. Let's get down to some of the amenities here. You can actually filter it out by neighborhood. So if your property, depending on what neighborhood you're in, you want to click maybe on that neighborhood and just look at those properties in that neighborhood. As you can see, like I said, there's over 600 hotels in Orlando, but each neighborhood has this neighborhood has 102, this has 152, this has 103. So you kind of filter out and just get those properties that are in your neighborhood. And if you have that breakfast included tag in there, it's just going to show properties in your neighborhood that include breakfast. So you're going to really narrow down your search and find out, who you should be comparing yourself against, or give you a good idea. You can also do it by star rating. Star rating is these 3 stars, these 2 stars right here for this Motel 6. They're a 2-star property. So if you, where's that Travel Lodge we were looking at? This Travel Lodge right here that we were looking at, they have breakfast included, and you can see that they're on International Drive. Okay. And they're priced, like I said, at $50, and they're a 2-star property. So you could also check this 2-star property too. So let's kind of do that for this property, this Travel Lodge that I looked at. Let's kind of do a filtered search and kind of see who shows up. So we already have this clicked where we're sorting by price, and we're going to go over here and we're going to click on breakfast included, and scroll down a little bit more. Let's see here. We're going to go to neighborhood, and we're going to go to International Drive. And let's just take a look at what that shows us, okay? So that's 37 properties right there, okay? So there's that travel lodge at the top if we're pretending like that's our hotel. And you can see it's just showing, properties that include breakfast. There's that green breakfast tag, and kind of gives you an idea on the pricing right here. All these hotels are priced pretty similarly. So that's good. Gives you a good idea who your competitors might be. And then, like I said, we could kind of narrow it down a little bit more and just show properties that are 2 stars. So when we do that, we're not going to have many left. We've got 6 properties. So definitely you'd want to take a look at that if you were working with this property here and see who shows up. It's kind of like the same properties that we looked at before. So I think you guys get the picture there. I think you get the picture. Take your time, pick a good competitive set. And like I said, as you're working along the way, you're going to find out who your competitors are. If you're in there pricing yourself every day, you're going to find out who your competitors are. But they asked for 10 hotels to be listed in this competitive set area right here to compare yourself against. So it might be hard to come up with 10. If you need extras, go to booking.com, do a filtered search, sort by price, and find out who your competitors are that way, and then move them over there and see how you do. That's it for today, guys. I appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And please like this video and share it with anybody that you think this will help. I have more videos coming out in the future that I'm going to do on the booking.com extranet and other stuff in order to boost your occupancy. Stay tuned, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.